We want to share with you a great moment that took place here in New York last night. The story actually started with a terrible moment a dozen years back during the invasion of Iraq, when the helicopter we were traveling in was forced down after being hit by an RPG.
In 2015, Brian Williams, once one of the most trusted faces in American journalism, faced an unraveling of his career. His claim of being in a helicopter hit by rocket-propelled grenade fire during the Iraq War was exposed as false, sparking widespread controversy. The fallout was swift and severe, leading to his suspension from NBC Nightly News and raising serious questions about his credibility. How did one of journalism's brightest stars find himself at the center of a scandal that would forever alter his professional legacy? Brian Williams' early life and rise to prominence. Brian Williams was born May 5, 1959, in Ridgewood, New Jersey, and grew up in a middle-class family with a strong sense of community. The youngest of 4 children, he developed an early interest in storytelling and current events. Williams attended Catholic school and later enrolled at Brookdale Community College before transferring to George Washington University and then Catholic University of America. While he didn't complete his degree, his drive to succeed in journalism never wavered. Reflecting on his unorthodox path, he once remarked, quote, "I've always believed that education isn't confined to the classroom." He began his career in broadcasting at a small station in Pittsburgh, Kansas, where he honed his skills in reporting local news. His natural charisma and ability to connect with audiences quickly propelled him to larger markets, including Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. In the mid-'80s, he became a correspondent for WCBS in New York, marking the start of his rise to national recognition. By 1993, he joined NBC News, serving as chief White House correspondent during the Clinton administration and anchoring the weekend edition of NBC Nightly News.
And congratulations for you, just all of a sudden huge ratings. That's amazing that you took over, because that must be tough to take Tom Brokaw's.
Taking over for an icon is a little bit intimidating, but I was his substitute for 10 years. He was a terrific friend and mentor to me, and he really made sure that everything went well.
When Tom Brokaw, a broadcasting legend, retired in 2004, Williams was named his successor on NBC Nightly News. The appointment was seen as a testament to Williams' journalistic acumen and on-air presence. Under his leadership, the program became the most-watched evening news show in the country. Williams' ability to deliver breaking news with a calm, authoritative demeanor endeared him to viewers. During this time, he covered pivotal moments in history, including Hurricane Katrina. His coverage earned widespread praise, with the New York Times calling him a steady voice during a time of chaos. These achievements solidified his place as one of the most respected journalists of his generation. The helicopter incident. In 2003, during a reporting trip to Iraq, Brian Williams traveled aboard military helicopters to cover the U.S. invasion. Years later, in retelling the experience, he claimed to have been aboard a helicopter that was struck by a rocket-propelled grenade and forced to make an emergency landing.
We were in some helicopters. What we didn't know was we were north of the invasion. We were the northernmost Americans in Iraq. We were going to drop some bridge portions across the Euphrates so the 3rd Infantry could cross on them. 2 of our 4 helicopters were hit by ground fire, including the one I was in.
The dramatic account painted a vivid picture of danger and bravery, and for a time it went unquestioned. However, in 2015, military personnel who had been part of the mission came forward to dispute Williams' account, revealing that he'd not been aboard the targeted helicopter but had instead arrived on a different aircraft an hour later. The revelation ignited a firestorm of criticism. Questions arose about why Williams had fabricated or embellished the story and whether it was part of a larger pattern. In an apology issued during an NBC broadcast, Williams admitted,
"I want to apologize. I said I was traveling in an aircraft that was hit by RPG fire. I was instead in a following aircraft."
His acknowledgement, however, did little to quell the backlash. Many viewed his explanation as insufficient, and some interpreted his statement as an attempt to deflect responsibility. The controversy quickly escalated, prompting NBC to conduct an internal investigation. The network ultimately suspended Williams without pay for 6 months, a decision that underscored the gravity of the situation. His tenure as the anchor of NBC Nightly News ended, a move that signaled a dramatic fall from grace for a journalist who had once been a trusted household name. The incident did more than tarnish his reputation. It sparked a broader conversation about trust in media. Critics argue that Williams's embellishment was emblematic of a growing problem in journalism, where sensationalism sometimes takes precedence over facts. For Williams, the fallout was devastating. He later reflected on the experience, saying, quote, "It has been a difficult and humbling time. I let down my colleagues and our viewers. The damage to his credibility proved lasting, creating a shadow over his achievements and forcing him to rebuild his career in a far less prominent role." Impact on his career and public image. The fallout from the helicopter controversy was immediate and far-reaching. Williams went from being one of the most respected journalists in the country to a figure of intense scrutiny. His suspension from NBC Nightly News marked a steep fall from a position he had held for over a decade. The decision by NBC to remove him as anchor not only reflected the severity of the situation, but also highlighted the network's commitment to restoring its credibility in the eyes of viewers. The public reaction was polarizing. Many saw the incident as an unforgivable breach of trust. Critics accused Williams of deliberately embellishing the truth to enhance his reputation. Media outlets dissected his other statements, searching for inconsistencies, and some found minor exaggerations in other accounts he had shared over the years. As the scandal grew, it became a symbol of what can happen when journalists blur the line between fact and fiction. One commentator noted, quote, "Brian Williams' downfall was a painful reminder that the foundation of journalism is trust. Without it, even the most celebrated careers can collapse." At the same time, some colleagues and viewers expressed sympathy. They argued that Williams' mistake, though serious, did not erase his years of credible reporting. His defenders pointed to his body of work as evidence of his professionalism. Despite this support, the damage was done. Williams admitted later, quote, "I own this. I don't expect anyone to feel sorry for me. My job now is to regain whatever trust I can, one story at a time." In an attempt to rehabilitate his career, he was reassigned to MSNBC, where he began hosting the 11th Hour. While the move allowed him to remain in journalism, it was marked by a demotion from his previous role. His life after the scandal. His work on the 11th Hour allowed Williams to address complex political developments, including the 2016 presidential election and subsequent shifts in American politics. The show's success demonstrated that while his reputation had suffered, he still possessed the skill and insight to engage viewers meaningfully. Quote, "I'm grateful for the chance to work again," Williams said in an interview. "The trust I lost is something I will never take lightly. Every day is an opportunity to do better." Though he found stability at MSNBC, the scandal continued to shadow his career. Critics remained vocal about his past, often framing his return to broadcasting as controversial. Despite this, many colleagues praised his resilience. Rachel Maddow, his MSNBC counterpart, once remarked, "Brian has an incredible ability to distill the chaos of the news into something people can understand. That's a rare gift, and it's why so many viewers still turn to him." In 2021, he announced his decision to leave MSNBC, stating that he wanted to spend more time with his family and explore new opportunities. As he reflected on his career, he addressed the challenges he had faced, but also expressed gratitude for his long tenure in journalism. Quote, "I've had an extraordinary run," he said. "While I made mistakes, I'll always be proud of the work we accomplished." Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think one misremembered personal story should have a big effect on a journalist's reputation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.